The future Christmas. Every year it was the same. Christmas would come and go. 'Twas the only time that man would be kind to man. But as we all know, not all men would even then be kind. But from this year a change would come, but not a natural change, but one from the future. His name was Flint Peterson. He was a normal scientist from the future, whose life was not too dissimilar from those of the past he was planning to visit. And a time that was still known as Christmas. Though much of its religious origins had been lost over time, he wanted to find a new tradition from the past to bring to his people that had been lost. Flint entered the system codes of his watch, which detailed his whole body makeup, and entered the code that would make fusion of his atoms, allowing him to alter his time-space, and push him forward or backwards through the energy stream which most called existence or life. In a second he was no more, and then he was, but in a different time. He stood in a broken house. It looked as if no one had lived there for years. On the floor was old wrapping paper, as if it was a Christmas of the past. A tree was in the corner with cobwebs. A light in the distance flickered on and off. Flint walked towards the tree and removed the cobwebs to see a shiny ornament from the tree. It looked expensive, but it was left. Outside he heard the sound of a rippling machine gun and noises of people being hit. He knew he had found himself in a time of war. War was something that even in his time humanity still found its time pursuing for power or greed or land that no mortal could ever truly obtain. He slowly walked towards the front door and peered out. There he saw the men with their guns, shooting in the dark. He could see the red splashes of blood which flew almost as if in slow motion through the ether, as if souls of those were now free of this tyranny. Flint went back inside. He wanted to leave and go back to his time, depressed by the images of man he had seen. It appeared to him the past and the future almost were the same. Nothing had changed in all those years. Nothing had changed. Men were still fighting with one another. Humanity was still suffering. He saw on the floor a diary. He opened it and read a passage. It read, "Tuesday, Christmas Eve. No food again today. All we have is our things from last year. Maybe we'll burn the tree to keep warm. I've tried to find food, but there is nothing to be found. Maybe this is how it all ends." Flint dropped the diary. A tear fell down his face. He feared what had happened to this family, how their one existence had ended with such poverty, on a planet that could sustain every nation of every time, if only we could learn to share it with one another. Then all of a sudden a soldier with a gun came into the room, his gun firmly at Flint's head. "Who are you, stranger?" the soldier screamed. "I am Flint. I am just a visitor." Said Flint. "I don't want to know your life story. You don't look like them." "Them?" said Flint, unsure of whom he meant. But as with all time, humans still split each other up, despite all being of the same flesh. "It doesn't matter. Your death will be the same. Any last words?" "Last words?" "My friend, I'm about to end your life. You shouldn't have been here." "I was just trying to find a way I could change my future." "Your future? Well, it's all about to end with a gun to your face," the soldier quipped, with a wry smile. "Why do you have to kill me? Especially at this time?" "Time is time, my friend. Christmas or not, blood will still run." "Why are you like this? I was trying to find something, a way to bring to my time a lost tradition, but now I see the past is just as bad as the future." "You make no sense, friend. Your words are up. Prepare to meet your maker." "Maker? Do you believe in the stories of a deity that created us all?" "It's just words." "Yes, I guess so. Who knows? But if he did exist, would he be happy that Through all time, men are still fighting men, cutting up bits of land and owning and possessing them, making men work on unnecessary competing tasks in order to own bits of his trees, wasting the energy that was freely given. You talk more nonsense than them. Why do you hate them? I said, not knowing who them were. Them, it doesn't matter. You'll be with them shortly, and your words of injustice of this man-made system we have woken up to is out of my control. This is just how life is. I have no choice but to hold this gun, to protect my land and family, so I can eat and sleep and enjoy. And that's the great lie, that even in my time exists. Your family, your land, we're all your family, and this is all our land, and everything on it is all of ours. We have no right to own it, to put a price on what we find freely in the land and air. And with that the soldier released the bullet, and into Flint's head it went. The blood splashed across the Christmas tree of time before and the walls, and he dropped with a thud to the ground. The soldier put the gun down and looked at Flint for a while, pondering over the words he said, and answered him as if he was alive to hear. You may be right, but who else would believe you? And even if they did, we can't change it now. Can we? We are slaves of the past, present, and future. As the soldier walked off, a child that had been hiding behind the tree, covered in Flint's blood, came out and rushed towards Flint. The child had seen everything that had taken place between the past, the present, and the future. The child held onto Flint's hand as if to comfort him, but Flint was already cold. Then the child noticed a watch and pressed it. All of a sudden, they were no more, and then they were, but in a different time, a future, and in a room with thousands of people watching. In the air were what looked like floating mobile devices capturing the moment for their occupiers. The child did not know, but he had transported Flint back to the auditorium where the future was watching Flint's demise in the past. The child turned to a woman who walked towards. She was dressed as if she was very important, maybe the leader of the future. She took the child's hand and cleaned the blood from the child's face. A tear from the child fell. It is all right. We all saw. We understand. The child did not know what was meant by the words. What had been understood? How would it be all right? But this was the moment of change that would take place. Because of Flint's actions, one man showed those whose minds had been long closed to what was true and how life could be. And now it came to this place we all call home, a humanity that cared for one another, that stopped doing things for money or possession, but for love and enjoyment, and everything was better than before, and everyone felt the freedom of their existence, which had always been the case, and all because of Flint's sacrifice and the child's compassion. Humanity was able to love humanity. The end.